Today I want to share with you secrets that no entrepreneur will tell you, especially the successful ones, until they're at a level whereby they can afford competition. So here we go. Number one is brand positioning and marketing. And as an MD in a marketing agency, allow me break down this for you based on experience. Now, how you position yourself in the market is critical. I want you to look around your social media following currently. How many corporations do you follow? The social media is dead because they're still following the traditional forms of marketing, even on a digital platform. The consumer today is no longer gullible, and they're so self-absorbed that how you reach them has to be about them. So how you position yourself in the market is important, and how you brand yourself to the market dictates the kind of traffic and clientele you get to access. Customers pay for perceived value, not just your product or service. This is something that new entrepreneurs really struggle to understand. But perception, just the way we teach in energetics, is the same in the business world. And this is why I love how those two worlds interconnect. Perception is reality. You want to ensure you're staying ahead of how your brand is perceived in the market. You could be offering 101% value, but if that value is not perceived on an equal scale in the market, you're on a losing end. This is why I often tell entrepreneurs, you've got to master the art of selling, because that is your number one avenue of actually getting to achieve the goals you have for that business. So top of the chain is you have to invest in branding. This is how you want to be perceived. So for example, Tesla, recently I ran into Tesla here in Karen. That was very interesting. I don't know which of my neighbors is driving that particular car, but I was stunned. It's a beautiful piece of car. But how Tesla came in the market, Tesla literally brands themselves as more of a tech company than an automotive. You understand? So you have to choose how you want to be perceived in the market, because that eventually trickles down to how you sell. This is something that entrepreneurs assume a lot. So focus on creating an experience around your brand, and then bring that experience even across your digital platforms. We need to feel you as a business. It's now energy work. It's no longer just you're selling and I'm buying. It's about how do I relate at a personal level with you. And this also, if you're smart enough, it's the act of building an ecosystem, which is point number 2. A seamless ecosystem. What does this look like? For example, when you're buying your iPhone, most likely in the near future, you're going to be buying a MacBook and you're going to be buying an iPad. Why? Because your data is going to be integrated in an ecosystem. This is, you might not realize it, but this is a marketing hack being executed by Apple, because they're locking the consumer in an ecosystem that when you want to step out of it, you feel trapped, because it has so much of your information in between each other, and it makes your work easier. So as an entrepreneur today, you have to figure out, for whatever service you're offering, how can you create an ecosystem around it? You even see with, if you've been to 5 stars, for example, they have an execution package, right? They have a full board package, which you can just be inside the hotel and have cocktails, right? Inside that particular restaurant, you'll find there are probably 3 or 4 restaurants. You'll find there's a mini boutique where you can shop. Literally bringing everything is creating an ecosystem for the clientele. So for example, we're a marketing agency, right? Our job is enhancing visibility and revenue for different organizations, for SMEs, for corporations, and all that. Now, if we were offering just, let's say, social media management, that would be a bit limited. But you find that we do for you the market research. We understand who exactly you're targeting in the market. We come to the social media bit and we do for you the strategy on how to reach that market. And then we do for you lead generation. We do for you the conversion bit into the clientele. The entire ecosystem, whether it's going to be on search engines, whether it's going to be on social media, right? Whether it's going to be on email, all that integration becomes our job. And now we've moved, for example, into business development. So our job is not just your digital marketing bit. Our role becomes the whole package. How are we moving you from where you are to where you want to be with a team of experts? So that is creating an ecosystem whereby the client feels, all right, you're tending to point B, point C, point D, point E. So an ecosystem also trickles down to my third point, which is cost control. You find that as a business, the earlier you learn who is tying around your business, and starting to actively produce your own. So for example, let's just use Tesla. I like it as an example. You find that they produce their own batteries, they produce their own softwares, even their own mega companies where they're situated, they do that for themselves. So you find that that reduces cost. You and your business that is coming up, why do you want to spend cost on always getting supplies outside? How about you figure out how to cost control internally? This might look like, if you, for example, you have clients in the hospitality industry, someone is running a restaurant, figure out how you're going to start supplying some of these for yourself. There's a small supermarket that I really like, that I'm seeing in a lot of Shell petrol stations in the country. I think it's called Jazza Supermarket or something. Now, when you look at Jazza Supermarket, it might not be a big supermarket on the levels of Carrefour and something, but they're already getting their target audience. Why? Because Jazza is doing internal control, cost control. You go to Jazza, half of the things on their shelf are from Jazza. From the toilet cleaner, to the dengue, to the cereals. That is a way of cost controlling. You have to figure out as a business, how do I start controlling? If you're the kind of person that hires outside all the time, figure out how to have that in-house so that there is at least some sort of cost control going on. All right, next is data-driven content strategy. I don't know if you guys are utilizing this, for example, in your social media strategy, in your digital strategy and all that, because you've got to figure out how to use data to your advantage. Everyone is using this against you, just not aware of it. So for example, Netflix, there's a show I love called House of Cards, because I like powerful shows, and I feel like that show reflects how the corridors of corporate and business and governance is so articulately. So House of Cards, for example, for Netflix to produce it comes from understanding what the audience are gearing towards, or rather leaning towards, and then they produce for you a show based on data, based on numbers, and it performs so well. Now, you're not aware of it, but most institutions are actually using data to get you to tune to them, whether you're aware of it, conscious of it, or not. And this includes things like, I don't know if you've ever shopped on Amazon. It literally almost reads the things, or Jumia, if you're Kenyan, that is. It literally reads the things that you lean towards, and that is what keeps popping whenever you're going to drop out of your cart. You've got to figure out how to use data even in your content for you to perform better. What is your audience reacting better to, right? What are they leaning towards? What's helpful for them? These are small things that most entrepreneurs ignore, but data will never mislead you. Data will always tell you what your audience, what your target market is leaning towards, so that you take advantage of it. Lastly is something called a fast mover strategy, which I think you saw with M-Pesa, and it literally requires you to be the first person to innovate something, because you'll get to have an advantage around it, or rather jump on something at an early trend. For example, in our world today, you should be aware that you need to start moving into the decentralized money systems, because eventually you're just gonna get there. Now, why is innovation so important in the world of business? A lot of us are comfortable. It's just our nature. You do things how it's been done, how it's been normalized, how you find people doing things. So for example, if you're in the marketing industry, in the digital world, for example, you've got to constantly be innovative. Don't look at where the country is. Rather, move on the global stage, and even possible, go a step ahead. For example, right now, we're really personalizing how marketing is done. And most people have not gotten the hang of it yet. They're still struggling. And that is why they can't convert. People don't even understand the difference between fame and branding yourself. And this is why you have a lot of influencers with crazy numbers, and they can barely convert that to a monetary term. This comes down to that gap in understanding the market to the core. So keep innovating, adapt quickly to technological shifts, and then reinvest strategically, those profits that you're making back into the business. Guys, we are a marketing agency, one of the best in Africa. We serviced clients globally, and we continue to do, with a lot of good reputation and feedback. You can check our website. There's an email on my bio if you're interested in scaling your business to the next height. If visibility and revenue is something you struggle with, we are the people that you need to get you to that next level. Let me know what you think, guys. Cheers.